Right off the top, I had a very unique experience involving an all-time rock and roll legend in my region this week. Geddy Lee of Rush was in Edmonton doing a signing for his book called The Big Book of Bass. And this signing, it was pretty odd, I thought, because this was the signing on the book tour that was at a Costco. Not only was this at a Costco, this Costco was outside of the city, about 40 minutes outside of the city of Edmonton. So for the video viewers, here's a photo of Geddy Lee. He's signing. So the reason I went down there was because I wanted to try and get an interview with Geddy Lee of Rush. And it's funny, I announced this on social media. I discussed the fact that he didn't do the interview with me and that I was happy about it because I felt humbled and driven rather than defeated. And I really wanted to drive that message home, is that I show up to these things. I do get a lot of yeses because I put in a lot of hard work and I try to speak to the right people. But you also get told no. And this is one of the times where I got told no, not by Geddy Lee himself, but by the people handling the signing. I approached them at the signing. I asked them if he'd do an interview, and they said he wanted to leave right away when he was done the signing, which makes sense. Now, I believe part of that, and again, this is just my opinion. I stayed around the signing for a little while. I observed things. I checked things out. I think part of his reason for wanting to leave right away was because it was at a Costco, in fact. He's seen here in this photo, they didn't even have the table for him, an all-time rock legend, set up, say in the middle of the book aisle or something like that. They had him literally at the end of an aisle in Costco signing books next to a crock pot, which was very odd to me. Very odd. Nothing blocked off. There was, I don't want to name the specific company, for lack of a better word, and I don't mean to be insulting, rent-a-cop sort of security guards from an off-brand security company standing next to him who really didn't look like they were invested in anything. And it was just an odd thing where half of the people in the Costco knew that he was there and were Rush fans. Then there was a segment of people that had no idea who he was and were wondering what's going on. And then you had the weirdest ones, which is the people who knew exactly who he was, and they're walking by thinking, what the hell is Geddy Lee of Rush doing at Costco right now? Listen, I understand trying to sell a book, guys. I'm not new to this. I understand a rock star trying to sell a book. But to the publicity team, this is where my main questions are being directed. Why would Geddy Lee of Rush be booked to do a signing in a Costco? Why not book it at a bookstore? Why not book it at the West Edmonton Mall? We have the second largest mall in the world here in this city, and there's frequently signings from big entertainers coming in there. I think they should have put a bit of respect on Geddy Lee's name, to be quite frank with you, because it was a little odd. And I'm not saying this because I didn't get an interview, or I'm not saying anything like this. I'm just saying as a fan, like I've traveled to see Rush on their last tour. I'm a Rush fan. I would have liked to have seen Geddy Lee in a better light. It was definitely odd. I'm very familiar with the region where the Costco was in, and I lived there at one point in time. So I was walking around saying all these times I was going through this neighborhood listening to Rush, I never thought somewhere in this Costco next to where I used to live would be Geddy Lee. It just was very interesting. But the second that he signed the last book, he took off, put on his jacket, and as he was walking away, he just waved at the little crowd of fans that included me, and he was like, "Thank you," like he was leaving a rock concert. And then as he was like waving thank you, I just saw him walking towards a sign that just said deli. It was just a deli aisle. And I was like, we just got Geddy Lee of Rush waving at his crowd of adoring fans walking towards the produce and deli section with an entourage of security. To be quite frank, I'm pretty sure Geddy Lee probably goes to Costco where he lives in Canada and doesn't require security. I'm just going to put it that way. So it was really an interesting sight to see. Very odd and out of place. But again, the man's getting his money. I know where he's coming from, and I don't fault him. I don't blame him.